Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. I know a lot of you have been messaging me or commenting on my videos asking for an update. So it's been about 6 months at this point, and the healing process is more or less stopped. So I'm good. Everything is more or less back to normal. All my symptoms regarding my neurological symptoms and everything else really faded away. I can go back to really doing any activity I want. Like, for example, I went to Japan last month. I wouldn't have done that before the surgery. I was able to travel, eat, meet people, and it was great. So in terms of how I am now, I mean, that's really it. In terms of where my range of motion is at, I think it's like 50 to 70% what it used to be. It depends on the side. So here's my right side. And then here's my left side. So it's not even that big of a difference. And plus, you could also argue that I probably have more range of motion now than I did before the surgery, because I was petrified to move my neck from left to right because I would just experience horrific symptoms. So people ask me, by the way, should I get the surgery? Or I know a lot of people that are on the fence about it. I think it's a very subjective thing, right? So you have to ask yourself, is this worth the risk? And is my quality of life so bad that I have no other option? What I mean by that is, if you're in your bed, you don't have any friends, you can't hold down a job, you really can't do anything. I asked myself, hey, what do I have to lose? I was very sedentary. I could still work and still do some stuff, but everything was a chore, as I explained in a lot of my other videos. So I would ask yourself, hey, what's the depth of my symptoms? Is this unbearable? Am I just familiar with the suffering at that point, or is it something that objectively is just not normal? Ask yourself, do you have other comorbidities like EDS? Do you have any other forms of venous stenosis or internal jugular vein compression or Eagle syndrome, things like that? And then obviously address all of those aspects and try the conservative treatments. But if you're still at the point where you're not living a good quality of life, do your due diligence on the surgeon, the track record of them, who you are as a patient, what other ailments that you have, as I said, and then really determine if the surgery is right for you. Me personally, I do it all again. If I had to go get the skull fuse, I would. And by the way, the biggest thing with a skull fusion from C0 to C2, the actual most limiting part isn't the C0 to C1 fusion. It's the C1 to C2 that affects your lateral movement. The C0 to C1 is it just hinders your rotation instead of flexion and extension. So, for example, if I had the surgery right now, C1 and C2 again, it didn't help whatsoever. It's not that big of a difference. I don't even feel the hardware, and I more or less have 50 to 70% of my range of motion, so that's fine. So if you're really suffering, ask yourself, do you want to, and this is another big thing, by the way, people ask me all the time, aren't you afraid of adjacent segment disease? Sure, but you can't guarantee tomorrow, and who knows where we're going to be in 10 to 20 years. And I'd rather have to get another spinal fusion in a decade or so than I didn't get any at all and then lied in my bed and then I missed out a decade of my life. I mean, just everything's perspective, right? And plus, we don't know where the medical industry is going to be right now. I know right now a lot of the stem cell treatments are hit and miss for a ton of people. For me personally, it didn't work. So in 20 years, maybe that would be efficacious enough to actually avoid getting additional fusions when your levels break down. So, but with that being said, everyone deserves to be happy and healthy. If you have any other questions about how you should feel after the surgery, if you want to talk about it, I'm here. But I wanted to give everyone an update, and I hope everyone's doing okay who has to deal with this, unfortunately. You all deserve to be happy. Ask yourself, should I get the fusion? And if you can't deal with it anymore, then just do it. So that's really all I have to say today. I'll talk to you guys next time, I guess.